page 182, the coming of age of the nervous system. When the Kundalini has finally completed its circuit, it can be said that the human nervous system has achieved what is analogous to the state of puberty in the body, in the sense that it can start functioning more fully on ever higher levels of consciousness. That is, the nervous system has achieved a young adult status and can assume a more responsible role. After a while, one may find some peculiar stimulation around the solar plexus or navel areas, which may occur mostly at night when lying on one's back, and the feeling will be that of energy flowing into the body through those areas. One may feel some internal organs being stimulated by these energies. What is happening now is that the nervous system has become sufficiently refined so that it may enter into resonance with outside energies. These may be energies associated with the activities of the planet and the sun. Many of the electromagnetic oscillations within the planetary field occur at physiological frequencies. I hope that you still remember what was said in Chapter 9 about the rudimentary consciousness of the planet and the higher consciousness which uses the planet as a place to hang its hat on, so to speak. Once a person's nervous system has developed to this point, energies provided by these high consciousnesses begin to flow automatically into the nervous system of the recipient due to a state of resonance with the above beings. This will cause further evolution of the nervous system, and eventually these consciousnesses may make themselves known in ways that are individually matched to each person's needs and abilities. Later, an unfolding of knowledge occurs that opens up broader and broader vistas about the workings of nature, so that a person starts feeling that he is very much a part, and indeed a very active part, of nature and the universe. When this happens, there is naturally a lot of excitement about these developments. It is best then for such a person to keep calm, balanced attitude about all these goings on and not to be over distracted by these occurrences. A steady routine in daily life is important. This will tend to counterbalance the more exciting events that may occur in or out of meditation. All that was described above may happen to people spontaneously, that is, to people who do not meditate. However, it is usually associated then with much more trauma and results very frequently in the hospitalization of such people. The usual diagnosis will be schizophrenia. The reason for this is that they have been catapulted suddenly into a situation in which they are functioning in more than one reality. They can see and hear things occurring in our neighboring realities, that is, the astral or other higher realities, because their frequency response has been broadened. However, since they did not have a gradual systematic evolution that meditation affords, they cannot handle the situation. The onslaught of information may be overwhelming, and they begin to mix and confuse 2 or 3 realities. This confusion eventually surfaces, and the person so afflicted will seek help by trying to share his experiences with friends or relatives. He will be advised to seek medical help. The treatment, depending on the symptoms, could involve heavy sedatives, electroshock, or both, which may irrevocably damage a highly sensitive nervous system. Naturally, this becomes a regrettable situation. In such spontaneous cases of development in which severe bodily symptoms such as strong headaches, pressures in the eyes, or other symptoms are present over a long period of time, permanent impairment of mental or physical function may occur. However, people who meditate have milder symptoms, and they are unlikely to discontinue meditation because of occasional problems. Having reached a certain level of development of the nervous system through continuous practice, they realize that these are temporary obstacles on the way until a total purification of the nervous system from stress is achieved. It is clear that to handle the problems we have just discussed, the available medical treatments cannot be very helpful. Normal medical treatments cannot alleviate these problems, and if they do, it will occur only at a great cost to the patient in terms of his spiritual evolution. I hope that in the future, medical centers capable of properly dealing with These problems will arise. The beginnings are already visible. Presently still in the conceptual stage, the so-called holistic medical centers will be staffed by physicians and psychotherapists who have themselves experienced the symptoms described above or have been trained to understand them and thus will know how to handle their patients with sufficient care so as not to destroy their achievement as far as the fine-tuning of their nervous system is concerned. As more and more physicians take up meditation, it is inevitable that a good percentage of them will be drawn to do just this kind of work. Natural psychic healers who understand these processes should have a place in such holistic medical centers, just as should the chiropractors, osteopaths, acupuncturists, etc., people who understand the flow of energies through the body. Such holistic medical centers will be able to deal not only with medical aspects of a health situation, but also with its spiritual component. The psychological aspects of the accelerated development of the nervous system are very well described by Roberto Asagoli, the Italian psychiatrist and founder of the psychosynthesis movement in psychiatry. This movement is a part of the trend within psychiatry and psychotherapy to recognize the essential spirituality of a man and to develop new methods of dealing with problems arising due to an accelerated development of the nervous system and its accompanying spiritual correlates. The following is a quotation from Asagoli's book, Psychosynthesis. In the following analysis of the vicissitudes and incidents which occur during the process of spiritual development, we shall consider both the successive stages of self-actualization and the achievement of full self-realization. Man's spiritual development is a long and arduous journey, an adventure through strange lands full of surprises, difficulties, and even dangers. It involves a drastic transmutation of the normal elements of the personality, an awakening of potentialities hitherto dormant, a raising of consciousness to new realms, and a functioning along a new inner dimension. We should not be surprised, therefore, to find that so great a change, so fundamental a transformation is marked by several critical states, which are not infrequently accompanied by various nervous, emotional, and mental troubles. These may present to the objective clinical observation of the therapist the same symptoms as those due to more usual causes, but they have in reality quite another significance and function and need very different treatment. The incidence of disturbances having a spiritual origin is rapidly increasing nowadays in step with the growing number of people who, consciously or unconsciously, are groping their way towards a fuller life. Moreover, the heightened development and complexity of the personality of modern man and his more critical mind have rendered spiritual development a more difficult and complicated process. It is a combination of psychological and physical therapy that will alleviate the problems we have discussed above. Table 1 shows 10 documented cases of the psycho-kundalini syndrome. The sequence of symptoms is shown in Figure C. As the stimulus moves up the spine to a point facing each frontal chakra, it will be referred forward to stimulate the chakras that correspond to major nerve plexuses located in the pelvis, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, and the head. It appears that the purpose of this syndrome is to unite the cerebrospinal and the autonomic nervous systems, thus providing for a possible control of autonomic functions like respiration, cardiac function, blood flow, etc., through the cerebrospinal system. This indeed has been shown in studies performed on yogis who could easily control body functions that in the West were thought impossible to control. For example, heartbeat, superficial blood circulation, etc. This is the next stage in the evolution of our nervous system, and it is a necessary correlate of spiritual development towards which all mankind is moving. I think I'll stop today.